Hi, I'm Benz Matuvi, and I'm going to be talking about the context of African decolonization. Um, to start it off, the decolonization of Africa took place in the mid to late 1950s to 1975, where normally colonial governments made the transition to independent states. This process was violent at first and unorganized and filled with a lot of political turmoil during this time as the Africans were pushing out the British colonists. This was seen in examples of the organized revolts in both northern and sub-Saharan colonies, including the Algerian War, French Algeria, the Angolan War of Independence, Portuguese Angola, the Congo Crisis, in the Belgian Congo, and the Mau Mau uprising in British Kenya. Now, the people who we're going to focus on is specifically the British versus the African nationalists. More importantly, Jomo Kenyatta, who led African nationalists in 1945 in the Fifth Pan-African Congress, which demanded the end of I can't even say the word. This Congress included future presidents of Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, and national activists who banded together and created multiple independence movements in order to push the British out of the government and disable the idea of white supremacy. The reason this is all due to the earlier realization of during the World Wars where African soldiers were added into imperial militaries, such as my grandpa. This led to a deeper political awareness and the idea that they deserved greater respect as they were fighting for these people who, in turn, were not giving them the rights that they deserved. While watching the Europeans destroy each other, they realized that Europeans were indeed no better than themselves, and the idea of white racial superiority vanished. And especially after the witnessing of the German death camps, did African men see the consequence of believing in a superior race, and then that idea could lead to, as seen, big consequences and the death of Africans themselves if they were to continue that way. So, in order to fix that, African nationalists fought and rioted to get rid of racial superiority, never accepting white colonial domination again, and pushed them out of governmental positions. This caused the British, in order to keep as much control as possible, they decided to, in a sense, give out little treats, such as granting local autonomy to African colonies. They started to modernize them economically and socially by building universities, improving roads, and even fixing local government. This caused problems as people actually began to see that a lot of the local chiefs of the tribes of African people were actually being controlled by the British colonists. This is an example. This example can also be seen during when blacks or Africans would sell other Africans into slavery by Europeans having a overwhelming control over the chiefs and what they want. But in conclusion, due to the war of all notion of whites' racial superiority was gone after they destroyed themselves and Europe, belief in a master race had terrifying consequences, and this caused all the national movements to form, pushing British out of control, specifically Jomo Kenyatta and all the delegates of the Fifth Pan-African Congress who took over governmental positions, pushing out any sort of British colonial influence and taking back their control. This allowed for democracy and for Africa to finally reach their idea of independence. Thank you.